Hey, what's up everyone? It's Tiffany here with NightShift EDC, and today I'm here with the awesome Fyro Levo Travel Backpack. This one specifically is the 36 liter, and so far I've noticed that there's a ton of reviews out on this backpack already. People have talked about the specs, they've talked about the different colors, the fabric. I mean, there's a ton out there now. So I will go ahead and put all of that information right here for you to read if you want to. I want to do something a little bit different, and what I have decided to do is to take a look at the way that the bag is built from a novice maker's perspective. You know, I started sewing a little over a year ago, and this bag does have a lifetime warranty, which means that the company really stands behind its products and really believes in its products. I will say, just in case anybody is curious, this bag was developed to be one of the most lightweight urban backpacks that exist, plus extremely comfortable. And there are a lot of bags out there that are either really comfortable but they're very heavy, or they're really lightweight and they're not very comfortable. And I think that he did a really good job combining those factors all together. It has a good mix, in my opinion, of features, like the load lifters, the 2 compartments. The laptop access area is very plush. I feel like my laptop is very secure in there. So the bag is not overwhelming with features. It's more on the minimal side, but I think that's what they're going for, and that's how you keep the weight down. All right, so first thing that I want to point out about this bag is that the fabric feels very waterproof. It is somewhat crinkly. I have been putting a lot of use in this bag, and I want to show you that there's a little bit of scuff mark here, which I have not tried to clean off. I don't know if you can see it. It's really small. But even if I've thrown it on the ground, it still does not scuff that easily. I've got my cap 2, which also fits in that area perfectly. So looking at the stitching for the water bottle pocket, when I put a lot of stress on it, it feels very secure. I do not feel like these seams are gonna rip. I did go rucking with this bag, and I put 30 pounds inside of it. And as long as I was strategic of where I put the weight, the bag continued to hold comfortably. I didn't see any loose stitching. It didn't feel like it was going to pull too tight and break. They did a lot of extra they took a lot of extra steps to make the bag really well built. So if you notice here, there's bar tacking, as well as bar tacking near the straps right here. On the bottom, the way that this was put together, the stitching looks very clean, very straight. And let's move to the top of it. This handle as well, you see more of the bar tack stitching, which just shows you that they've gone the extra mile. They've put in the extra effort to make sure that the bag holds up really well. There's not a lot of plastic on this bag, but they did use Woojin hardware, which is known for being very sturdy and tough. There's more bar tack stitching under here. I'm not typically a huge fan of the rail system for sternum strap. I have never had a bag whose rail system didn't eventually break. So far this one is on really well. Typically where it comes off for me is it'll slide off the bottom. They did a good job closing that loop right there. And then they also closed it up right there. But if you pull hard enough, a lot of times these come off and they can't go back on. So I'm gonna see if I can pull it off. So yeah, that is not coming off very easily. Let me try this side over here. That's impressive. Okay. I mean, I never, obviously it didn't come off while I was rucking, but I will be so grateful and I will recant all of the bad things that I've said about rail systems if this literally does not come off one day. Like, it's the worst when you're out with your bag traveling and then all of a sudden the sternum strap pops off and there's literally no easy way to get that back on. There's these load lifters here. The way that they are installed, they are very effective. So it's flat without them. And then if you pull it, you can see that it does bend the shoulder straps, picks the load up. There's some more bar tacking right here with the load lifters. Move into the inside of the laptop compartment. Got my cap 2 and it won't fit. So the biggest thing is that there is a microfiber soft plushy compartment here for electronics or sunglasses, anything you don't want to get scratched. Maybe phone can go in this area and zip up. Their laptop compartment. Now there is, if there's a frame sheet back here, it's thin, as you can see. I am bending this. Frame sheet does add a lot of weight. It is quite flexible, but there's this lycra material here, which I want a pillow made out of. It's so soft and squishy, and it's actually pretty thick. Looking at the binding, it looks good. Oh, this is where the load lifters attach. So bar tacking again at the load lifters. More padding here. So with the back of the compartment being completely padded, the inside of the back compartment being completely padded, I feel really comfortable with my laptop being in here. I feel it's either a quarter or half inch of a harder foam on the inside that, as you can see, is malleable. I do think that this is not a bag that you particularly want to go rucking in without a hard frame sheet, because it's not made for rucking and it's meant to be lightweight, but that's not to say that it can't carry 25-30 pounds comfortably. One of the goals of the Fyro bag was for people to basically forget that the bag was, even on their back, they listed that they wanted the bag to feel like it just disappeared. And while I still definitely knew I had a bag on my back, I will give it to them that the comfort was better than I had expected. There's this mesh pocket here, and I have been overstuffing it with socks. And one thing I noticed is that it has stretched out some, and that is because I have been, for the last few weeks, completely stuffing it as tight as I can, like that, overstuffing it, and it's not frayed, it hasn't ripped. The sutures, or I guess stitches, all look very much intact. I like how clean this looks. Zippers are sturdy. I noticed down here, I don't know if you could see that, but when I pull on the mesh down at the bottom, this pocket has a little bit of dimension to it, not a lot. I put some sports bras in here. I've got about 4 sports bras that fit in there. Fyro packing cubes have definitely gone on the list to be one of my favorites. They have the Codra nylon, gives it a little bit of shape, as well as an extremely thin fabric here that's somewhat crinkly, but It has a handle, which is nice. It also has great compression capabilities. And another thing that I really like about this compression or this packing cube is I like how the top is mesh and see-through and the bottom isn't. I actually really like being able to see what is on the other side. And another thing that's interesting that I really appreciate is it came with 2 smaller cubes and they're like blocks. So you get the larger one, a small one, and they fit inside this bag perfectly. If you pack out your cubes, whatever you get in here, you know, guarantee it's gonna fit inside of your bag. Another thing that was done from a design perspective is there's a little bit of a gusset right here. So this is where the laptop compartment is, and there is more padding right here, but if you're not going to be carrying a laptop, then this does smush out of the way a little bit. This is where my phone is. So this is that little tech compartment, flattens out of the way. So basically, if you don't want to use any of these features, they're out of the way. I want to take another moment to point out that there is more bar tacking. The bag is reinforced in all the right places. The handle has that soft lycra material, so it feels really good when you hold it. The top part, it feels like they put a piece of hard plastic right here. And so when I carry it, the hard plastic provides structure. All right. Going into the next compartment, I have the packable backpack from Packed in here. It fits perfectly in this compartment. I also have the Free Reign 16 from Matador, which also fits perfectly in there. So one of the great things about this bag that makes it, solidifies it as a one bag travel bag, if you will, is that a second backup backpack for where you're traveling will fit in here. But also, if you're not a one bag kind of person, it does have that luggage pass through right here. It has the hook to be able to hang your bag. There is a side pocket right here that will fit passport and then some. As you can see, my phone fits in there, so it's a pretty big spot. So in the front, there is a loop right here. And what I like about that is you can hang your keys, you can hang something, or if you don't want anything dangling on your bag, then you just leave it alone and it's not in the way. This is padded. There's more lycra on the back side. I'm looking at the stitching here. The stitching is clean. The lines are clean. And all throughout this bag, for a manufactured bag, stitching is quite impressive. There's a little bit of branding here. Fyro loop. You can hook something if you want to, or it just looks cool. The bottom of the bag is lightly padded. The bottom of the bag is the same fabric as the rest of the bag. So I do think that this is likely to get pretty scratched up with time. It hasn't so far. I'm not sure how puncture and abrasion resistant this fabric is. So far it's held up well, but I think time will definitely tell. Another area I'm a little concerned about, while the lycra feels really good, I'm concerned with if, let's say I'm wearing a belt or an abrasive outfit, is that going to mess with the stitching here as it's rubbing on the back? I don't know. It's another thing that time will tell. So some of the things that I like most about this bag, thing number one is I like that it has a water bottle pocket that seems very sturdy. I like that it has a luggage pass-through. I like that it has 2 handles, a little compartment back here, I like that this front compartment goes all the way down and it fits a packable backpack. And I like how the inside of this main compartment, the zipper goes flat down this way instead of opening that way, and that it's basically just a big bucket instead of a bunch of compartments everywhere. I like how plush and comfortable the back is. I like that it has load lifters. I like that it feels like my laptop is going to stay very secure. I also think it looks like a cool backpack. It's not, to me, one of the coolest looking backpacks would be, I mean, either something custom or something by Azo equipment. I mean, something that is custom made design just for you. But for a manufactured backpack, I think this is really aesthetically pleasing. A couple of things that I would love to see in the future. One is, I think a midnight blue or a navy would look really awesome. I think that it would make the bag possibly a little bit heavier, but even some other fabrics like some X-Pack or something like that in the future would be awesome. Another issue that I had is if I'm not specifically looking and I go to open up this compartment, I'd go to open up the front and I would accidentally be opening up the main. So since this compartment only has one zipper, the bag has to be unzipped from this side to get into the front. And it would be awesome if there could be a dual zipper. A dual zipper would be great. And then another thing, and this is just, I mean, I don't know. I like these zipper pulls. They're bar tacked on there. They're Hypalon. They feel great. But what I don't like is that if I wanted to use different zippers, I would have to damage these beyond, I mean, I'd have to permanently damage them. Like I couldn't take them off and reuse them. So the benefit of something like that is these zipper pulls are not going to fall off easily. The downside is that you can't really customize this bag very much. So most people's are going to look the same. Maybe you could put some paracord on the handle, add a magna patch. You'd have to cut these off if you wanted to make some individual zippers. Another thing is the rail system. Like I mentioned before, it's not exactly my favorite, just because it always seems to come off, although this one hasn't. But then at the same time, I can't change this to, let's say if I wanted to use a Cobra or I wanted to use a different kind of system than a magnetic. I mean, maybe somebody doesn't want a sternum strap. Well, that's too bad, because you're gonna get one. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. There's gonna be a couple of different links down in the description. Check them out. I wanna thank Fyro Aaron for sending me this bag to check out. It's been a pleasure. A real pleasure kind of digging through it and looking to see how it's made and the decisions that you've made. What I find really interesting is that you made this for everyone to watch on YouTube, which is really cool. And the fact that you have reviewed so many bags and you know what you like and you know what you don't like, and you understand that there's always going to be compromises with decisions that you make. You literally cannot have everything all at once. It's just impossible. So, well done, and I'll see you guys at the next one.